we enter the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is clear that this is a crisis of monumental proportions, with catastrophic effects on people's lives and livelihoods and efforts to realize the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Historically, pandemics have served as catalysts for political, economical, and social change, and that still holds true today, says Mr. Liu Zhenmin, the Undersecretary General for Economic and Social Affairs, United Nations, in the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2021. According to the report, the year 2021 will be decisive as to whether or not the world can make the transformations needed to deliver on the promise to achieve the SDGs by 2030. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are joining us from. Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade, GCPIT, Global Council for Cluster Excellence in Research, GCCR, Confederation of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME, UFEST University, along with our partners, SDG Chaupal India, People of Impact UAE, Positive Ed Limited UK, Predixa UAE, Center for Environment Education Nepal, Southern Voice Peru, Innovation Technology Transfer Office FITT IIT Delhi, Go Nomading Private Limited Singapore, True Complexion Malaysia, Impact Trackers Singapore, Griha Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment New Delhi, India, the Energy and Resources Institute, TERI, New Delhi, India. We are proud to celebrate together the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2021 for unlocking the potential of SMEs for SDGs. A very warm welcome to all of you to day 10 of the summit. I'm Aparna Kumar, the Global Co-Chairperson of GCPIT and your host for the event. On behalf of GCPIT, I express our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for joining us today and supporting us in all our endeavors. Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade, or GCPIT, is one of the fastest growing organizations based out of India and South Africa, with board and council member representation across the world. The objective of this organization is to implement relevant major national development strategies, promote foreign trade, bilateral investment, and economic and technological cooperation, carry forward cooperation with overseas trade promotion counterparts, receive overseas high-end trade and economic delegations, and much, much more. GCPIT supports entrepreneurs through its three verticals, which are the MSME growth vertical, where we handhold and support the existing SMEs, the W Combinator, where we empower and support women entrepreneurs and leaders, and the SDGs Global Impact Startups, where we encourage startups focusing on the SDGs. The last whole year, we have organized many premium online events like the Global Women's Business Summit, the Womenomics Global Mission, the Global Technology Summit, the Global Innovation Incubation and Entrepreneurship Summit, the Global Women in Trade Summit, only to name a few. As you can see, at GCPIT, we are constantly on the lookout for new and innovative ways to assist businesses in expanding their global reach. And it is with this vision that we launched the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2021, with a focus on how SMEs can support and at the same time gain by following the roadmap provided by the SDGs. We don't stop here. We are coming up with a magazine called Sustainomics, which will cover articles and research papers focusing on sustainability, which will be GCPIT's next step towards supporting the global goals. The Sustainable Development Goals Report 2021, prepared by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs in collaboration with more than 50 international agencies, uses the latest available data and estimates to reveal the devastating impacts of the crisis on the SDGs and point out areas that require urgent and coordinated action. According to the report, years or even decades of progress have been halted or reversed due to the pandemic. In 2020, the global extreme poverty rate rose for the first time in over 20 years. Hundreds of millions of people were pushed back into extreme poverty and chronic hunger. The pandemic has exposed and intensified inequalities within and among countries. The poorest and most vulnerable people have a greater risk of becoming infected by the virus and bear the brunt of the economic fallout. The crisis has threatened the livelihoods of 1.6 billion workers in the informal economy. The climate crisis, the biodiversity crisis, and the pollution crisis persist despite the pandemic. Concentrations of major greenhouse gases continue to increase despite the temporary reduction in emissions in 2020 related to lockdowns and other COVID-19 response measures. The world remains woefully off track in meeting the Paris Agreement. Biodiversity is declining and terrestrial ecosystems are being degraded at alarming rates. Around the world, 1 million plastic drinking bottles are purchased every minute, and 5 trillion single-use plastic bags are thrown away each year. The report further says that the COVID-19 pandemic serves as a mirror for the world. It reflects deeply rooted problems in our societies: insufficient social protection, weak public health systems, and inadequate health coverage, structural inequalities, environmental degradation, and climate change. But resilience, adaptability, and innovation bring us optimism. In the face of the tremendous challenges, many governments, the private sector, academia, and communities have demonstrated quick responses, remarkable creativity, and new forms of collaboration. Scientists across the globe have been working together to develop life saving vaccines and treatments in record time. The pandemic has sped up the digital transformation of governments and businesses. Still, transformational changes are needed, and the SDGs provide the roadmap. The crisis demonstrates the interdependency and interlinkages among the various dimensions of sustainability, from health, well being, and social and economic prosperity to climate and ecosystems. To address the vulnerabilities exposed by the pandemic, governments and the international community should make structural transformations and develop common solutions guided by the SDGs. These include significantly strengthening social protection systems and public services, including health systems, education, water, sanitation, and other basic services, increasing investments in science, technology, and innovation, creating physical space in developing countries, taking a green economy approach and investing in clean energy and industry, and transitioning to sustainable food systems. Building back better requires effective multilateralism and full participation of all societies. This global crisis demands a shared global response. The Under Secretary General closes his words saying, "We are at a critical juncture in human history. The decisions we make and actions we take today will have momentous consequences for future generations. Lessons learned from the pandemic will help us rise to current and future challenges. Let us seize the moment to make this decade of action, transformation, and restoration to achieve the SDGs and make good on the Paris Climate Agreement. So let us all work together towards achieving these goals, leaving no one behind." I once again thank you all for joining us today, and let me thank our partners for their unconditional support. Let us